Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Dishan. You are watching How One Works. So today I'm experimenting a new thing. Actually, I was trying to go live on my LinkedIn, and the motive behind that was actually to see if I could gain some traction by creating this video content on LinkedIn or LinkedIn Live. But seems like I didn't have the right tools, or probably I didn't know the right way. Plus, my cameraman, my editor, and the person who records all these videos, my younger brother Sham, he's not around today. So I really hope I'm not doing a terrible job without him. I did not know how to remove that thing, whatever it is. It's actually my door. But yeah, so I thought I should talk about a couple of concerns or problems or experiences that some of my friends, mostly on LinkedIn, but then in real life as well, they brought this up. And the moment I actually discovered that, I was pretty shocked because I have been lucky enough during my initial stage of the of career when I was starting up, I didn't have to face such problems. Either getting hired in a good company like Motive or Edge or Better Source, or before that RD Experts, or I did not have to suffer from evaluation or favoritism or nepotism or the grudges of teammates or senior management or HR. So luckily, thank God, I didn't have to go through all that. But now it's becoming increasingly concerning and worrisome that a lot of people, they either are facing this problem of getting their job application noticed in the first place in a big companies like, I wouldn't name any companies, but they have been complaining that they are facing a lot of problems. So they seem to be qualified from good universities. They seem to have relevant experience. And looking at the current employees of those companies, they seem to be very fair and very capable candidates and applicants, potential employees of those companies. But they haven't been hearing back from HR or recruiter or talent acquisition, whatever you call it. So I thought to actually address two different incidents brought to me by two different friends of mine. So one of those friends, she recently graduated from a very good university, and during her graduation, she has been working full-time as well in the relevant field. And then she applied to a very famous company who happened to be hiring pretty much all the time. And she was initially told that she got pre-screened and they're selecting her or shortlisting her for the interview with manager. So one interview went by, and then there was another interview with the panel that happened to be like 3 different people, and then another one came by with the director and the head of HR, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And everything was all set, and she was told to resign from her job because the new batch was starting next week. And they wanted her so bad. They wanted the talented candidates right in that batch because probably the company would stop working if they didn't hire the new batch. But 2 days after she has put her notice to resign, she got an email that there's a hiring freeze that they have put on, and that's what they heard from the upper management or the HR head or whatever that person was. And they wouldn't be hiring, they wouldn't be able to hire until the end of next quarter. And now she has resigned from her current job. Put her notice period from her current job. And she had high hopes with that big company because apparently they're very successful and they have like thousands of people and they're paying really good, and it's like work from home opportunity. And down the lane, she hears that she is not going to be getting hired because now, for some reason, for some alienated reasons, they're not starting the new batch that they really badly, deadly needed the very next week. So that happened, and I was wondering, what happened to HR? What happened to those talent acquisition people? Don't they know how hard is it once you have put notice to resign, you're already gone in eyes of management and your team lead and your manager. You're already gone. You're just, even if you are putting your 100% effort, they consider you gone. They're not gonna, take you back no matter what. And I can tell that from my personal experience. Now, the next incident that I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to go live on LinkedIn. I wanted to name that company, call that company out, call their bluff out, because that's a very close friend. But then I decided not to take any names. So I'm not going to mention any company or any person in particular in this incident, but this incident happened where the company has origin from Canada. They're working out of Islamabad, and they have pretty much more than 100 employees, and they claim to be expanding. So they contacted this guy from LinkedIn based on his profile and skill set and his experiences and apparently his content on LinkedIn. They reached out to him and wanted to interview him for the director of business development. And everything went smooth. So he went to their office for the initial screening interview, where the HR head asked some very generic questions like introduce yourself and why you want to join our company and why are you leaving your job and what are your salary expectations and all that. And I'm sorry if I'm if you feel I'm mimicking anyone, because I'm not. That's what I had most often in the initial interviews. No emotions, no empathy, no human interaction. And if that's an online interview, 99.99% of the times, the talent acquisition person, the recruiter or the HR, they wouldn't even switch on their cameras. So they want you to switch on your camera and they want you to dress professionally. I mean, I would like that very much. I always dress professionally during interviews, but they wouldn't even switch on their cameras, and they're just asking you generic questions in a very robotic, monotonous tone. Okay, introduce yourself. How long have you been working? Okay, why do you want to join our company? Okay, what are your salary expectations? Okay, how soon can you join us? We're starting batch the next week, and it's going to be World War III if you don't join our company the next week. So that happened, and everything went well in the initial interview. The same night, they scheduled his interview with the managing director, who is working out of Canada, and that happened to be a long interview, so that went pretty well as well. The managing director himself was a very nice person, very professional, and now the next thing that he knows is he gets a call the very next morning, and the HR person who reached out to him in the first place, she gives him the good news that you are hired, you're selected, the MD really liked you, and we really like you to have you on board, and it's going to be quick, so can you please come to office this evening to meet with our general manager or assistant general manager, whatever he was, just to have a little chat, and so we can see if how up to speed you are with our business model, and we want to walk you through our business model, and we want to walk you through how things work, so that we want you to join ASAP, so that when you join us, you already have the clue on what we're doing and what you have to do and whatnot. So that guy goes. So within 3 days, he got selected, and now with his final meeting, the general chit chat, or at least so they said. He asked about the salary package, and they said well, you're going to get an offer letter and your salary would be listed in that. So he said, okay, fine, but this is what I'm taking right now. Here are my salary slips, and here is why I wanted to switch. Obviously, money is a factor, so I need at least the same amount of remuneration or compensation, or at least the same kind of benefits that they're paying me, so I can go ahead and join your company. And they said, yeah, of course you're going to get a letter within the next 24 hours from our side, and you're all selected and all set and all that. All right, so 24 hours gone by, 48 hours gone by, 72 hours gone by. Fast forward a week, the guy reaches back, and they said, well, we are still in phase, and your file is with our president for the final signature. And he is so busy that he doesn't even care about his business development. He doesn't even care about the sales of his company, which is why he is, putting on hold the very important position of director of business development hiring. And we'll have to remind him, but we cannot remind him because he's going to get pissed off and he's probably going to abuse us or whatnot. But anyway, well, that was not what they said, but I assume, a file on my table for 7 days for one of the most important persons that I want to hire to, grow my sales and my business development. And I'm taking like 10 days to just take a look at that file. Well, I'm not serious with my company. Another couple of days went by, and then another couple of days went by. And now this guy sees they put up the same position for hiring. So he reaches back to HR to ask if they're hiring multiple positions, like multiple people for that director business development position. And he was told that no, well, we're still interviewing people and we're still looking for the best candidate and we did not make a decision yet. So that's what happened to this guy. And he writes the email to the person who gave him the good news of getting selected as director of business development and, calls out her bluff. Like, what's going on? If I got selected, I'm still waiting for the offer letter. You gave me the good news verbally. You had me set up with your general manager to walk me through the processes, to give the office visit and whatnot. And now you're telling me you are looking for more candidates to interview? Well, that was hilarious. And guess what? They told him the same thing. They're still looking for the candidate, and they're still waiting for the reply from president. 14 days down the lane after very first interview with the managing director, they're waiting on the president's decision to get back to the candidate they interviewed for a very important position of business development director. And guess what? This company does marketing and sales stuff. This is how good they are, when they're selling themselves, when they're selling their own image, when they're putting image to future prospective employees. And I was shocked, like, what age are these people living on? What kind of HR, what kind of talent acquisition recruiters are we getting nowadays? Because I didn't have to experience any of that thing. In fact, a lot of people over LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, they reach out to me and they say, hey, we don't think it's possible to get in Motive or Edge or Better Source without an internal reference. And I share my experience. I did not had any internal reference in Keep Trucking when I joined back in 2018. I did not have any reference. I did not know a single person at Edge when I applied and joined Edge in January 2021. And I did not know no one, not a single person in Better Source when I got selected, got hired, and started working with Better Source. So it's not about the internal reference if the HR is really doing their jobs. But if they're just putting you, interviewing you, putting you on hold for the future batches and they don't even know if they would be hiring you, they're not doing their jobs. If they're just pre-screening CVs on the basis of university names or on the basis of like if they know you personally or if you are a friend of a friend, they're not doing their job. And I'm sorry, with no offense to anyone, I had a very hard time even, believing it, let alone understanding the reasons. And I couldn't even imagine in the darkest hours of my darkest imagination that any darkest person with the darkest heart would ever be able to do that. And there happened another thing as well, where this very close relative of mine got sick. He was working with a fully remote organization based out of somewhere in the world. And he got sick. He got admitted to the hospital. Now, the so-called company never offered any medical benefits or insurance or health benefits, but they paid good and they were fully remote. So this is a family guy and he wanted that thing. So he got the job and he has been working all fine. And all of a sudden, he felt bad. He was feeling sick and he got admitted in hospital and he told his other friend or relative to inform his company, like the HR and the other related people. So he made him made the call, and they informed. And the very next day, the HR from that company, they started calling, okay, where are you? When are you getting back? And they were told that the person is hospitalized. He cannot even, have a conversation on the phone because phones are not allowed in the emergency. And as soon as he feels better, he will get back to you. But then another day went by, and now the HR people called back and asked for, okay, well, we understand he is admitted in hospital and he is not feeling well, but we need to see the proof to prove that someone is in emergency and they're not feeling well. So now this is a person who is friend of that relative of mine. They told the HR that, well, we cannot really do anything at this point of time because you would not accept the reports or radiology reports or the laboratory reports that they are conducting, and they're not going to give us the medical certificate unless after he is deemed fit. And guess what happened? They fired him. Yes. A guy in emergency, on bed, badly sick, admitted in hospital, lost his job because HR did not trust that he can die if he was not treated or if he was not admitted in that hospital. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what kind of people these companies are recruiting in HR or talent acquisition or in administration who do not have any empathy or who do not have anything to do with understanding human emotions, understanding human capacity, the limitations, or they're not even able to comprehend that a person can get sick. So they made him lose his job. How pathetic is that? And again, I could not even imagine that because when my mother got sick, Ifiwala, the founder, the CEO of Edge, he called me personally and made sure if I needed anything, I got that thing. Everyone from Islamabad office, nearly 75% of employees reached out to me personally. Most of them visited me in the hospital while my mother was not feeling well. And my client, while I was working at Edge, they called me to make sure if I needed any money, if I needed any help, and they made sure that I was feeling okay. I did not have to stress about workload or anything. That's how companies work. That's why everyone wants to join Edge Solutions, or Motive in that case, because they really care about people, as one should do. They do not take employees as robots or someone who is just working for the client somewhere overseas. And I have seen people getting set up by their peers or administration or senior management or an insecure manager setting up their employee and teammate in front of their client, in front of the senior most management of the company, just to get rid of them because they were threatened by their very existence. For God's sake, where we as a nation are taking ourselves, guys. If I'm manager and I have like 12 team members who are working for 12 different clients somewhere overseas, and I'm setting them up and I'm giving false information and I'm firing them if they're sick or some of their family members are sick, what kind of human being am I? What kind of devil I am? Please try to retain your image, your nation's image, your country's image, and on top of that, please keep that humanity alive in yourself. Please, I request you all. Bye for today.